Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of TerraVentures. We're on episode 30 I believe, and we're starting things off back at the big stadium project we've been going on for quite a little while now. Now our plan for today is to start work on the outside of this thing, so building up quite a bit of stuff, building out the walkways, at least on the very first level, and potentially some way to get up to the second and further tiers, and perhaps some of the gates or the entry ticket booths that we're going to do. So quite a bit of work to do here. Now what I'm planning to do is do a lot of that out of concrete, and between this last episode and this episode I've been gathering quite a bit of concrete materials, that is sand and gravel. And if we just make our way into storage, you can see 5 full shulker boxes. I only had 2 earlier of sand, and the same with gravel over here. I've also colored them, so these are now permanently gravel. These are now permanently gravel, shulker boxes, and these ones are permanently sand ones. So quite a bit of stock ready to go. So let's get some dye as well. I think light grey, and I've got quite a bit of concrete here, and grey should do, normal grey, dark grey as well should do very nicely. Now the first things first is to get rid of all these bits on the outside, the bits that are not covered by the fence, and ouch. As I was saying, the first thing we're going to do is take out all the andesite that's not by the fence, so everything that's on this side on the left side of the fence as we're looking at it now, which will be quite a bit of stuff, given that I did quite a bit of this stuff in the hope of using this as my walkway, but I'm decided to change the plan there and make it concrete instead. I haven't yet decided which color, either grey or dark grey, but that will be obviously decided as we continue to do this thing. So quite a bit more work here, and quite a bit of area to go. Now the one thing I need to decide as well is how much of the concrete, how far do I go out? So does it go 1, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, or so on and so forth? There's nothing there. So quite a bit of work and planning to do as well, because I'm sort of winging this as I go along, but at the same time I'm doing a little bit of planning. I've got a general idea of what I want this to be, a general idea of what I want this to look like, but nothing is set in stone or concrete yet. So quite a bit of planning to do. Right, now that I've cleaned up the outside of the stadium, it's time to figure out exactly how far or how much of this walkway I want going around the outside. As you can see, I've done a little bit. I've done 3 blocks, but that's not going to be quite enough, I reckon. I'm trying to decide. So let's just get a bit of concrete powder. Where's the dye? And there we go. I'm going to need a heck of a lot more dye. So there's 3 here. If I was to go 4, that would be like that, which I think would be about okay, I reckon. That block should be that. And I don't have water in me. Anyway, so that's going to be like that. And so I think that would be enough. And then what I would need to do is get some walls, which I'm thinking can be cyan terracotta, which is pretty close, actually pretty close in color. It's just a little bit off, yes. So that was perfect actually. So I'm going to use cyan terracotta, which unfortunately I'm going to need a lot of this as well. So where's my terracotta? There we go. So what I'm thinking here is just have a wall on the outside, or not like that one, perhaps 1 more block out. I really need to actually figure where my stuff is. So 1 block out like that. Sorry, 1 block like that. And there we go. And then I'm going to have the wall and the ticketing gates and everything from that wall, just like this. So that does mean I'm going to have to do a lot of terraforming on the outside as well, a lot of grass, placing a lot of things like that. So for a start, let's just work on this side here, this front wall, I guess, and figure out exactly how we're going to get this done. So let's get this concrete in, and then figure out how much terracotta we're going to need. Rightio, so after a little bit of work, we've got these stands here, these poles. These are what the ticketing gates are going to be. You may also know I've put in quite a bit of dirt here, just below the surface of the water, and that is for our, well, I'm not really sure what to call it. It will be the area just outside the stadium. So this will be made up of stone and possibly andesite, and even maybe, I'm not quite sure, light grey concrete, not light grey concrete powder, specifically the powder, not the concrete itself. Because if we take this, let's take one of this and one of this, and the stone, which is somewhere around here. No, not that. Where is it? Where did I put that? Where did I put the stone? Let me just gather up a stone. Right, so we've got stone, we've got concrete, and we've got andesite, and this was just a little bit off. Actually, thinking about it now, it might actually fit quite nicely. But these two together are going to be very good fit together. So I think that's what we're going to go with over here. So let's just dump this away, and I realize now I actually left the stone in here. So that's pretty good. So anyway, what we're going to work on here is the black stained glass, which is going to substitute for our doors. Now I don't particularly want just that, so what I'm thinking is, if we can get my silky pickaxe now, is doing something that I've done before and just wrapping it around the back, so like this, and that will leave just enough room for someone to squeeze past on every single one of these things, and that should look quite nice from the outside once I get the outside actually done. Now, one thing I'm starting to run into is a common thing with my builds, is that I tend to start building something without actually thinking about all the resources I need. And as you can see, I've just run out of cyan terracotta, so I don't have any left. I don't have any terracotta left, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to go, actually there's a bit there, but with 35, and I've still got every corner to do, the other 4 corners as well. I've still got probably a few stacks or hundreds of stacks more to gather up, and there isn't really that much clay around, so I might have to go to a mesa biome at some point and gather it up. But let's just have a look at that from the outside. I think that looks pretty good. I'm not entirely satisfied with the top up here, so that might have to change. However, there is one thing I am thinking of doing as well, which is having a big white box, big white slab of concrete just over here, extending about 20 to 30 blocks. So how about we build that and see how it looks. Alright, that's starting to look a little bit better. Still seems to be missing something, and there is actually a block missing on the left, so let's just fix it up. But yes, as I was saying, this thing is just missing a little bit something. Maybe I need to angle these, or seemingly angle these things in a bit. So maybe white concrete back here on the line back here, or maybe I need to slant this back, so perhaps 5 or 6 blocks up around there. I remove this upwards and see how that looks. Maybe that will look a little bit better. However, what I do need to figure out is, firstly, where's my cyan terracotta again, and secondly, what am I going to do with that stuff there? So it's quite a big project, obviously, and I need this to look very good, because this is one of the centerpieces of my base, so the big stadium back here. So I reckon this is starting to look okay. But let's have a look at the maps that we've got and see if that looks okay-ish. And you can see there, those two things are somewhat centered up here, which is what we want as well. So quite a little bit more planning to do, and I've still got to fill in this area here. I'm kind of thinking a blank wall, but that's probably not going to look too good. Probably what I should do is just a blank wall, and then have, if I can write letters G, A, T, E, and then a number here. I think that would work quite nicely. And then I'll put the letters in yellow, since I've got some yellow concrete powder, and perhaps the rest out of cyan terracotta, just like this stuff, which means I need to gather cyan terracotta. Alrighty, so since terracotta is going to be a pretty desperate need for quite a while, I'm going to go to a mesa biomes nearby and gather up 5 or so shulker boxes of terracotta, just the plain terracotta, because I can then dye it, and then I'll come back and, well, dye it with the cyan terracotta the cyan dye that is, and get started on continuing this project here. And after about an hour or so of mining and gathering and flying back and forth, I've got myself a whole lot of terracotta. That is 5 entire shulker boxes, 5 times 27 stacks, whatever that is. That's probably over 100. Does 135 stacks, I think, and each of them has 64. So that's well over 6400. Maybe 60. No, that's that 100 times 64. That's 6400 plus some whatever this is, 6,000 and a bit. Anyway, so what we need to do is get some cyan dye, or a lot of cyan dye, and thankfully I've now got a very good cactus making machine, which is the one we built a couple of episodes ago, or last episode. So that is quite a lot there. Let's take 9 stacks and dump it into the machine over here. Actually, let's scratch that. Let's take 10 stacks, so it's a even 5 on each side, and we should have enough lapis lazuli to turn into blue dye, to turn into cactus, with a cactus to turn into the color that we need. Okay, I'm really hoping this isn't going to be enough dye. Not that it really matters, because I've still got enough cactus and enough lapis to make more. But the real question is this enough terracotta? So what I'll do here is just start converting it all and dumping it back into the shulker boxes, and hopefully I've got enough to finish off this stadium, because I don't really want to have to collect more. Right, so now that I've got all this terracotta and all the other bits, it's time to figure out how I'm going to put these letters in. So what I'm thinking is that I just need to firstly create the G over here, and the A, and then the T. So this is going to say gate, whatever it is. Where's my scaffolding? So I'm going to use some scaffolding to get up. There we go. And then this, I'm going to put a line over here just to make it look a little bit better. So I'll start on the other end, since we're reading left to right, sorry. So let's get this up. And then from the bottom, we're going to have to slowly put this in one by one, because so let's go. So G, actually wait, what we'll do is we'll put an extra line at the bottom, like so. Then G goes like that, one up like that. We need to put that in like that, and a bit like that. That's going to look like a C, I think. So if we do that, put that in like there, and have a look from the outside, that looks pretty bad. So we just need to get rid of that second yellow concrete powder, and I think that would look a little bit better. No. So let's quickly get this done. There we go. So get rid of that, put that in, jump down and have a look at what it looks like from the outside. I reckon, no, that's still not quite right, I reckon. I'm not sure what it is, but it just doesn't look quite right. So I'm going to have to work on that a little bit. So let's have a look at that. Let's have a look and see what we can do here, and I'll come back and make it see if it's any better when I'm finished. Okay, and there we go. We've got the word gate there. I'm not entirely happy. I am pretty happy with it, actually. The word gate is there. You've got the T, which is probably a little bit big. However, we don't have the number 1 or whatever number we want here, and that's actually going to be a problem for when we do bigger gates, because the 1 is just going to be a straight line down here, but when we do 2, it's going to need 3 spaces here, and so on and so forth. So what we might need to do is other gates will need to be bigger here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the next ones might need to be 8 wide instead of 7. Alright, as you can see, the number 1 is just a bit too much squished on this side. So what I want to do is just move this entire thing to the left by 1 block and move this to the right by 1 block. and that should end up making it look a little bit better. Okay, and that's actually looking a lot better than it used to. I think the spacing between the one and the gate is actually pretty good. So what I just need to do now is to put in some more of this terracotta at the top, probably just one line, and then remove some of this white bit of this white concrete pillars. Okay, it's been a little while since the last clip, and I've started to decorate this place a bit. I've put in a little bit of a stone area here. This is just I suppose a congregational area, just where people gather and line up for their ticket inspections and whatnot, which I haven't really built. I'm thinking that between here and here, I'm going to put in some little bits and bots. I've also put in a tree just to green up this place a little bit, because otherwise it's just going to be all sorts of concrete and stone and all those kinds of building materials. One thing I'm also looking at doing is putting a little bit of a glass ceiling over here, so that people who, as they get their tickets inspected, will be able to stay dry. So if we do something like this, I think that would look quite nice. We just need to make sure that it looks nice from the outside as well. So let's get the glass all in and take away the bits that we don't need, which we'll fill in with some with the cyan terracotta. Is that enough? Just so let's have a look at that. Let's have a look from back here, and it's sort of okay. I'm not entirely happy with it, as it seems normal. Let's just take away these bits here, because they're not going to be needed, and put in the cyan terracotta when I'm done. So let's have a look. We need that there and there. So this just makes it look like it's being held up by something other than just by itself. There we go. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and lastly there and there. And let's have a look at that. And that's I think I liked it better with just the glass. So we'll remove the terracotta and have a look at that. But I think this is nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. There we go. This is starting to look a lot better. I'm still not entirely satisfied with these big white pillars here. I think either they need to be taller or they need to have something in the middle here just to break it up a little, because they're just big plain bits of concrete at the moment. Anyway, so what I'm now planning to do here is wrap this all the way around the stadium and repeat this a few times, which I'll probably do off camera quite a bit. So what I think I should do is just work on the front face of this bit and then replicate it a few more times around, making sure I change the numbers going in a clockwise direction, I reckon. So over here should be number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on how many gates I choose to have. So that's quite a bit of work, quite a lot of stuff to do. However, all that I've just said is just going to be done off camera in between episodes whenever I do the stadium next. What I'm thinking I'll do now is just work in the forecourt over here, so that it's going to involve removing this road because I don't need it anymore, and replacing it with a bit of a more stone-based stuff, as well as getting rid of this road here, which I know I just said that. So probably a little bit more colour in here. So I've got the green and the brown here. I'm thinking this place needs a bit more red, and I can easily get that with granite. So what I'll do at some point is place in a few granite and probably coarse dirt areas full of flowers to just give this place a little bit more colour, a little bit more attractivity, to entice people to come into the area and spend time even just outside the stadium, which will make it a little bit more interesting, I reckon. Okay, just a little bit more progress here, and I've put in just a little bit of a granite bed of flowers, I guess you could call it. I put in some sweet berry bushes, although I might change that out for flowers. I think I'm just trying to get a little bit more red in here, and perhaps some blue might be good as well. I'm not quite sure. But I've also put in some lights here. I'll probably need to put in a few more of these just randomly. So what I think I need as well, which I'll probably do in future, is just some food carts. So maybe some spruce wood food carts up here, and maybe on the other side of the berry bushes as well. Just something to break up this area, because if you're looking from the front of this, it's looking rather plain. We do have the symmetry, which is quite important for me. We've got the symmetry of the 2 dark oak trees and the berry bushes and the words up there. So this is all looking reasonably nice, but it just needs something more to make it look nicer. In fact, I might actually create a few more of these and plop them around, because that might actually break it up a little bit more. But unfortunately, that is all I've got time for today. So if you have liked this episode, if you have liked this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to keep watching out for the next one. Goodbye.